Is Iron Man 3 the perfect conclusion?
I'm the best.
Another polarizing Marvel film that had MCU fans disliking it after the first watch, but as time passes in the cinematic universe, people tend to find a lot of love for this film. Tony Stark returns after the events of the Avengers and begins Phase 2 of the MCU, and this begins a new era of films where Phase 2 definitely feels more emotionally narrative-driven instead of how Phase 1 felt. This was definitely a test by Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios to see how audiences will react to this new change in storytelling. So let's not waste any more time and see if the conclusion to the Iron Man series lived up to its true potential, or if it fell a little flat. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Multiversal Knight, and let's rewind back in time to May 3rd, 2013, and rewatch... There is a lot I really do enjoy about this movie. I'd say it does make a strong argument for being the Iron Man film for me. I'd say the biggest con, in my opinion, is kind of the action. You'd think for an Iron Man film, the final battle would take place more so in the suit, but the whole final battle is, in my opinion, a spectacle to watch with all the Iron Man suits coming, and it kind of plays into Tony's arc and story. The real and honestly biggest problem of the film is definitely the plot twist of the villain. Now in the MCU, you have a lot of comic fans really diving their time after the Avengers. You have common audiences really engage after the two Iron Man films and his appearance in the Avengers. And after a villain like Loki, which played great off of all the Avengers in the first Avengers movie, Aldrich Killian just kind of falls flat. He's another let me take over the world type of villain that ends up dying, which makes 3 villains that have been marked by Iron Man. And the fake Mandarin was alright, he was pretty fun to watch, but yet again, you bring in all these comic fans who are excited about the Mandarin and Iron Man, which in the comics they battle a lot, and then you just kind of hit them with this giant plot twist. But I think that wasn't the point of this movie. I think the strongest aspect of the film is the characterization of Tony Stark and his emotional arc over the course of the film. The idea of the film, from what I can tell, is that what if Tony doesn't have his armor? What if the people closest to him gets hurt? How is he a hero? Which some people really found to be a problem because it's Iron Man, put him in the suit and have him battle. But I feel like this is more of a battle with Tony and himself. Which I think now audiences can make a connection to Tony in this film with his anxiety. Now, I don't think a lot of people have experienced this, or this, or this.
What?
But sometimes life can make it feel like that, you know what I mean? And especially in today's age where anxiety is something that is recognized by the public and can be a great way to connect audiences to characters. I mean, you look at Thunderbolts and how it dealt with depression and how audiences really enjoyed the emotional human aspect of this. You look at Iron Man 3, they were trying it early on in the MCU. Audiences back then didn't really associate with it. Looking back at it now, audiences find a connection to Tony. And just like every MCU film, this eventually builds up to the eventual conclusion of the Infinity Saga on how Tony ends up in Endgame. He's attacked at his mansion, and Pepper almost dies because of his past action. It sets up his arc in Age of Ultron, where he wants to put a suit around the world to protect those who can't protect themselves. It adds to the emotion he has in Civil War, and his mindset against Steve over the Sokovia Accords. But most importantly, it adds to the anxiety Tony builds up throughout the MCU. But the biggest thing is, Tony feels like a hero for once. He's able to protect the people closest to him. Yes, he did save all of New York flying into the wormhole, but I feel like in his mind, that didn't automatically make him a hero, but protecting the people who have been there from the start finally makes him feel like Iron Man. Which, although is something that he's mentioned in the past 2 Iron Man films and in the Avengers, it's not something he's really felt. So would I say Iron Man 3 is the perfect conclusion to the Iron Man series? I would say it is. Does it have a lot of problems like every film? Yes. But I think it is the perfect finale for Tony's personal journey about legacy.
Oh my god, here he goes again about legacy.
Man, I have dug that theme into the ground. But I do believe it is the final aspect of understanding one's legacy is to acknowledge within yourself your legacy that you wanted to build and what it is. And in Iron Man 3, Tony realizes that. In a way, he's taken the Iron Man suit for granted and he hasn't treated the new team in the Avengers seriously. Tony realizes that his legacy isn't about being the weapons arms dealer that he was in Iron Man, or that
Genius,
he was a
billionaire,
playboy
playboy,
philanthropist like he is in the first Avengers or in Iron Man 2. He realizes that his legacy is to protect those who cannot protect themselves and be a hero to the world. Biggest thing, Tony needed to be honest with himself is the thing that he's been saying in almost all of his appearances in the MCU up to this point, and that is,
I am Iron Man.
thank you so much for watching this breakdown of Iron Man 3. Tune in next week as we tackle the second character to receive a sequel in Thor: The Dark World, which definitely has some opinions from people. My name is Multiversal Knight, and I will see all of you soon. Bye-bye.